the 1980s in small-town America,
the people of Montauk begin experiencing strange and unsettling events. Lights flicker without reason, TVs suddenly distort, children mysteriously disappear, and secret military trucks rumble through the streets late at night. During one such night, a young boy goes missing while on a bike ride with his friends. Large search parties comb through the woods and jungle, but there's still no sign of the child. During this frantic search, the local sheriff stumbles upon hidden secrets at a large scientific laboratory on the outskirts of town. Slowly, it becomes clear that Montauk is dealing with something going far beyond child abduction, and it leads into the realm of secret experiments and supernatural activities.
We would go to Camp Hero on a school visit, on a field trip, and we would be separate from the other kids. They would take us separate sometimes and bring us to places where they wouldn't go. And they had hatchways. People die in the name of science. Thousands of kids died in this program out of fear. They were scared to death.
Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation.
All of this may sound exactly like the plot of Netflix hit series Stranger Things, but every single one of these events is said to have truly happened at Camp Hero military base in Montauk during the 1980s. Most people don't know, but the web series Stranger Things was originally titled Montauk before Netflix stepped in and changed it. The show's producers, the Duffer Brothers, have stated that Stranger Things is not a pure science fiction. Instead, it is inspired by true events that reportedly took place in the 1980s at the Camp Hero military base in Montauk, Long Island, New York. Camp Hero military base, located at Montauk Point on Long Island, was built in 1942 as a top-secret U.S. Army coastal defense station. It was designed to protect New York from potential German naval attacks during World War II. It housed heavy artillery batteries, underground bunkers, and later became home to the massive FPS-35 radar tower during the Cold War. The base operated from roughly 1951 to 1982 for different unknown purposes. By the early 1980s, the base was decommissioned and transferred to the National Park Service, eventually becoming part of Camp Hero State Park. Despite its official closure, its abandoned bunkers, sealed tunnels, and the towering radar dish have fueled decades of conspiracy theories and speculations. The Montauk Project gained widespread attention when a man named Preston Nicholas published a book in 1992, claiming he worked as an electrical engineer at the secret Montauk facility during the 1980s. In this book, he makes shocking revelations about a hidden government project at Camp Hero, where scientists were allegedly trying to develop psychic abilities such as mind control, remote viewing, interdimensional travel, telepathy, and telekinesis. Thousands of children were abducted and kept underground where they were abused in a systematic way that would break their psyches so that they could be programmed into super soldiers known as the Montauk Boys. But to understand how something as extreme as Montauk could ever exist, we need to go back in time, decades before Camp Hero, psychic soldiers, and Montauk Chair was even a thing. We rewind to the early 1950s. The world is still recovering from World War II and the Cold War has just begun. Inside Washington, D.C., fear runs deep because the US intelligence officers are terrified that the Soviet Union has discovered a way to control the human mind. A fear sparked after captured American soldiers in Korea began confessing to crimes they never committed. Newspapers started calling it brainwashing. In 1953, one man inside the CIA becomes obsessed with the idea of fighting mind control with mind control. His name is Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist, a secretive thinker, and the man who would design one of the most controversial programs in American history. Under the direct approval of CIA Director Allen Dulles, Gottlieb launches a classified project known as MK Ultra.
She was a part of some study in college.
MK Ultra.
Yeah, that's the one.
Its purpose seems simple, but it looks terrifying. To discover how to break a mind and how to rebuild it in any shape the government wanted. The program officially begins on April 13, 1953, and the main headquarters for MK Ultra is set up inside CIA facilities in Washington, D.C. But the experiments are happening across multiple locations in the United States and even Canada. The scientists start working on MK Ultra very quickly because the CIA fears that the Soviet Union is getting ahead in developing techniques to control soldiers and political leaders. To stay ahead, the CIA funds more than 150 sub-projects involving synapses, sensory deprivation, electrical brain stimulation, and the heavy use of drugs. One of the most notorious locations is the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, Canada, where Dr. Evan Cameron carries out psychic driving experiments. He puts patients into drug-induced comas and plays repetitive audio messages to them for weeks and even sometimes for months, while also giving them electroshock therapy, hoping to raise their memories and rebuild their personalities from scratch. During this project, experiment shows the government how far the human mind can be pushed in control. Thus, the MK Ultra program continuously runs during the 50s and 60s and starts getting darker when several test subjects suffer long-term mental damages, and one US Army employee, Frank Olson, dies under mysterious circumstances after being given LSD without his consent. After running for 20 years, the MK Ultra program is finally exposed in the 1970s, and the CIA director orders most of the documents destroyed, leaving only a small number to survive. The declassified files confirm that thousands of people are experimented on without their consent, but the destruction of records becomes strong evidence that MK Ultra is only the beginning, not the end. And this seems to be true because in the 1970s, soon after MK Ultra ends, something far greater and more advanced emerges: the Stargate Project.
I'm Christy Nicola. I was a subject in radiation as well as mind control and drug experiments. Green performed radiation experiments on me in 1970. All these experiments were performed on me in conjunction with mind control techniques and drugs in Tucson, Arizona.
It's a quiet and mysterious night of 1972 at the Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California. And inside secret US intelligence rooms, a new idea is starting to take shape. The belief that psychic powers might be real and that the human mind could be used as a weapon. The US government quietly launches research to see whether abilities like remote viewing can be used for spying. Remote viewing means seeing a distant or hidden place using only the mind. Just like in Stranger Things, Eleven sits in a dark room and sees locations far away, the US government is now trying the same thing in real life. And this is where the Stargate project begins. The program does not start under the name Stargate. It's the year 1972 and the CIA funds its first experiments under the name Scan8. Later in that year, the project shifts to the Stanford Research Institute in California, where Harold Puthoff and Russell Targ start working with psychics to test if remote viewing can help find enemy bases and secret Soviet installations. During the experiments, Russell Targ works with a policeman, Pat Price, who has psychic abilities and witnessed huge success in remote viewing. It's a quiet evening of July 1974, and Pat Price, while sitting in a little copper screen electronically shielded room in America, describes and successfully draws the exact location of a Soviet Siberian weapons factory as semi-patinous with remarkable details. It includes an enormous 8-wheeled gantry crane and concealed 60-foot steel sphere than iron construction. What he drew was confirmed by satellite photography later on. Just like Eleven in Stranger Things, Pat Price closes his eyes while sitting in a spatial room and clearly sees the Soviet base thousands of miles away, as if his mind traveled there. As the years pass, the program changes agencies and names multiple times. By 1990 to 1991, all earlier programs are now merged under one new name: Stargate Project. In 1995, the US government orders a full evaluation of the project, and the American Institute for Research concludes that remote viewing has not shown consistent, repeatable evidence, and so the Stargate Project is officially shut down and declassified. Friends, all of these projects and their success connects and takes us to the most mysterious and controversial Montauk Project. So now let's talk about Montauk. While everyone in the 1970s and 80s was busy looking at the Stargate Project, something else was happening in the exact same timeline, something far more controversial. The Stargate Project served as the perfect distraction because while newspapers, scientists, and even conspiracy theorists were fixated on remote viewing experiments at Stanford, another program was running in complete darkness, one that never appeared in government budgets, official reports, or declassified documents. A program buried so deep that even members of Congress had no idea it existed. a program where the goal wasn't just to see distant places like Stargate, but to control minds, reshape emotions, and perhaps even bend reality itself. And this secret project was not taking place inside a polished CIA facility, but it was unfolding at an abandoned military base at the far edge of Long Island, a place forgotten and ignored by the world. And this is where the story of the Montauk Project begins.
People die in the name of science. Thousands of kids died in this program out of fear. They were scared to death.
At the center of this story are two key people: Preston Nicholas, an electrical engineer who claims to have worked on Project Montauk, and Duncan Cameron, the man many believe inspired the character of Eleven. During the late 70s, after the MKUltra project gets exposed, the US Congress tries to stop the CIA from running more secret experiments. But this creates another problem. Some research teams from MKUltra project starts working completely outside government control. One of these groups comes from Brookhaven National Laboratory, which is one of the biggest scientific laboratory in the country. They start creating devices that can influence human emotions and even human thoughts, and the US military wants this technology immediately. The team of scientists chooses a new location, the abandoned Montauk Air Force Base, known as Camp Hero Base at the far end of Long Island. The base has one special feature: a huge Cold War radar tower called the Sage Radar, capable of sending extremely powerful frequencies across long distances. The funding for the Montauk project never appears in any government budget. According to people who claim to have worked there, early money comes from stolen Nazi gold and later from wealthy industrial families. It's the year 1978 and the Camp Hero base becomes increasingly active, and soldiers, scientists, and engineers arrive without public notice. Reports of missing children start spreading across the area, and disturbingly, those numbers suddenly surge in the early 1980s as if something invisible is pulling them away.
They would abduct boys, teenage boys from the streets of Long Island.
Above ground, the base looks empty, but underground, secret experiments have already begun. Scientists at Montauk broadcast mood-altering frequencies that can cause fear, confusion, calmness, anger, and sleepiness. Test subjects include children aged 10 to 14 years who were compelled to take part. Soon the experiments go darker as the team tries to control thoughts and not just emotions. To go deeper into the mind, the team uses a strange device from the 1950s called the Montauk Chair, first built by the International Telephone and Telegraphy Company in 1950s. It is a large reclining chair surrounded by multiple electronic instruments, wires, and pyramid-shaped coils placed around and about the person sitting in it and attached to a machine. The machine detects tiny electromagnetic signals produced by the brain. These signals pass through pyramid-shaped coils and are sent into a Cray-1 supercomputer, one of the most powerful computers in the world during 80s. The chair can turn thoughts into digital data such as images, words, and even moving scenes. The experiments take place really fast, and after a few months, the scientists at Montauk tries to make the chair do more than just receiving thoughts. They want it to transmit thoughts into the huge Sage radar dish, allowing a person's mind to be broadcasted like a signal. For this purpose, psychic children are chosen to use the chair because their mental signals are very strong. But the Montauk Chair struggled to handle the psychic load, causing erratic glitches and unpredictable distortions in the signals it transmitted. Now, the engineers at the Montauk begins repairing the Montauk Chair to make it stronger than ever. After months of adjustments and repairing, the team finally creates a second-generation chair, which is quite powerful to handle huge electromagnetic waves, as it uses crystal receivers and special coils for more control. Now the Montauk Chair works almost perfectly, and the scientists can read and control the minds of children at the Camp Hero underground facilities, and soon they will try something far more dangerous. By late 1979, the experiments at Montauk reach a shocking new level, turning thoughts into physical objects. When the project's main psychic, Duncan Cameron, sits in the chair and focuses on an image, that image begins to appear in the real world. The first objects are simple shapes, and later Duncan is able to create more detailed forms. Sometimes they are solid, sometimes only half-formed, but the fact that they appear at all amazes the scientists. Creating matter from thought soon becomes a regular experiment at Camp Hero Base in Montauk. The experiments continue at a very fast speed, and the next discovery is even stranger and blows the minds of scientists. It is called the seeing eye. If Duncan holds something belonging to a person like hair or clothing, he can experience their senses. He can now see what they see, hear what they hear, and feel exactly what they feel, no matter where they are. Same like in Stranger Things, Will Byers sees through the eyes of Vecna and Demogorgon. Scientists now have a powerful tool for psychological surveillance, and these experiments are opening new doors to unleash the power of human mind. And after a few months, the research takes an even darker turn. But little do the scientists know that this comes with consequences. Animals around the base act strangely, people in the nearby town report sudden mood swings, distortions in TV, and electronic malfunctioning. Now it has become clear to scientists that Duncan's projections affect the environment far beyond the lab. To tighten the control, the team puts Duncan into deep psychological states similar to MK Ultra methods. In these states, he becomes easier to influence, and scientists can plant commands and beliefs directly into his subconscious mind. By the early 1980s, scientists at Montauk has nearly perfected their mind control technology. Their goal is no longer just research, it is shaping and controlling human thoughts. But their ambitious goal soon takes a dramatic turn that will change everything. In the summer of 1983, the atmosphere at Montauk grows tense. The scientists performing mind-controlling experiments on Duncan Cameron are ordered to run the transmitter continuously. The experiments are so intense that some strange effects begin to appear: shadowy shapes, sudden cold spots, and flickering lights. Seeing all of this, some scientists become skeptical and wants to shut everything down. For this purpose, they place a shutdown command in Duncan's mind, but it now feels like it's never working. The chaos and disturbance grows faster at the Camp Hero underground facility, and the powers of Duncan Cameron's become uncontrollable. Scientists are now trying to shut down the Duncan's mind by giving him commands, but instead of complying, he utters a chilling phrase: "The time is now." The moment those words leave his lips, reality seems to tear apart. A massive disturbance rocks the facility, and a portal, a swirling vortex of energy, rips open in the middle of a lab. From this vortex, a creature emerges. Later, it would be known as the Beast, but witnesses describe it differently. Some say it is 9 feet tall, others say 30. It seems partly physical and partly made of energy. Soldiers on guard immediately open fire with heavy caliber weapons, but the bullets pass right through it, having no effect whatsoever. And the Beast tears through equipment and rips apart metal walls like they are paper. In this chaotic situation, the engineers and Montauk try cutting the power, but the transmitter keeps running on its own as if it's drawing energy from an unknown source. After what feels like an eternity of chaos and destruction, they finally manage to physically destroy the system, and when the machine collapses, the Beast dissolves into thin air instantly. Seeing all of this, the scientists and engineers are baffled and try to leave the base in a hurry. The researchers and scientists realize that this work and the energy they are dealing with could cause massive destruction, so they shut down Camp Hero almost overnight. They leave the equipment behind, burn the documents, and completely abandon the base. So in this way, the Montauk Camp Hero base shut down forever in 1982. But even after its shutdown, local residents said they still saw government activity there afterwards between 1982 to 1990. And Preston Nicholas claimed in his book that officials returned to seal and cement the underground facilities where the experiments took place. When Preston Nicholas visited Montauk base during the late mid-80s, he found a lot of abandoned equipment in there, and he took most of it with him and still had with him until his death in 2018. After years of closure, the Montauk base was transferred to the National Park Service, eventually becoming part of Camp Hero State Park in 2002. It is important to mention here that the Montauk Project never appeared in any government documents, declassified files, and no government has ever accepted that these experiments eventually took place. But for conspiracy theorists, it is strong evidence that when a government denies anything, it means there is something that has happened. Even after years of its closure, locals of Montauk still remained suspicious and reported strange activities once in a while. People who live nearby report a strange heaviness in the air, odd noises in the woods, and glimpses of shadows that vanish when you try to focus on them. But in 2008, a strange event took place that raised the eyebrows once again. In July 2008, on Ditch Plains Beach, a few miles west of Camp Hero, local residents and beachgoers discovered a strange carcass washed ashore. The creature immediately caught media attention because it looked unlike any known animal. The creature was hairless, appeared to have a beak, and sparked widespread speculation that it was an escaped genetic experiment from a nearby government facility, possibly related to secret experiments at Camp Hero or the Animal Disease Center on Plum Island. However, the scientists and experts said that the carcass was merely a badly decomposed raccoon. The unusual appearance was a result of water action and decomposition, removing most of its hair and some flesh. But for the people near Montauk and for those who have followed the conspiracy theories for decades, the proximity to Montauk Camp Hero with its sealed bunkers and abandoned radar towers makes it more suspicious and impossible to ignore. But it remained a mystery whether it was a creature from a scientific experiment or just a wet raccoon. Today, the Montauk base looks abandoned. The huge radar dish still stands on top of the old transmitter building, slowly rusting. Broken fences and empty roads surround the area, and rangers warn visitors about unstable structures. A few even claim they somehow enter underground areas, though no such access points are known. But you can find interesting comments from locals who live in Montauk about this conspiracy theory on social media. Recently, hikers noticed new security cameras on the transmitter building, raising several questions. If the base is abandoned, why is anyone watching it? Whether these stories are real or imagined, Montauk remains one of the America's most mysterious and unsettling places. Everything we have seen in Stranger Things, from Eleven's powers, the secret lab, kids going missing, and terrifying interdimensional creatures like the Demogorgon, everything is inspired by the Montauk Project and the events that allegedly happened at Camp Hero Base. That take us towards the end of this video, and if you found this video interesting and informative, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as it really motivates me to bring more videos like this, as they take a lot of hard work to make. Take very good care of yourself and have a great day and night.